Welcome to Disaffected. It's August 17th, 2025, and this is the show where we talk about politics, culture, and relationships through a psychological lens. This is Disaffected, and the big focus tonight will be on the return of men and masculinity and how feminists, women, and gays don't have to like it. We're going to look at the astonishing, but actually predictable, social media pile-on that happened to none other than Billboard Chris. You know Chris Elston. You're seeing him on your screen right now. You know him as a Canadian father who travels the world to stop so-called gender-affirming care, which is surgical and chemical mutilation of children. No single person, man or woman, has done as much to put his own safety on the line and to stop this butchery as Chris Elston has. He's been assaulted countless times for standing on the street, and he's had his arm broken by gender lunatics because he wears a sandwich board in public that says, "Children cannot consent to puberty blockers." This is an assault-worthy offense. All hell broke loose online yesterday, or for you, maybe the day before, when Chris commented on the sissification of cheerleading in American football. Chris had the temerity to say that putting twinkie gay men on cheerleading teams for the NFL was, well, kind of faggy and off-putting. Suddenly hundreds, maybe even thousands of people, mainly, but not only women, called him a bigot. They said he was hateful. They said that he was the reason that children feel the need to transition. That his homophobic, bigoted hate, they said, is why mommies are taking their little boys to get their pee-pees cut off. It's a disgusting spectacle, and it's cluster B right to the core. And it's not just some online fight on Twitter either. This is not one of those things you can brush off and say, oh, this only happens on social media. This is the exposed edge of a conversation that has been waiting to happen for years. And we're going to start that conversation tonight. The Western world has been so thoroughly feminized that women, gays, and suckered men will move heaven and earth to teach boys to shake pom-poms and live their best fabulous lives, but they will go apeshit berserk when a man and a father says, boys need to be more manly. We're going to pick that scab right off and let the bleeding begin. As the very kind of fey, artistic sissy boy myself that these mother hens think they're protecting, you may be surprised to learn that I'm 100% on team man the fuck up and foursquare behind men and fathers reasserting what it means to be a man. But first, we've got some updates on topics we covered on the show in recent weeks. You remember last week we showed a video of a black African man on the London Underground who pulled his pants down and showed off his cock and balls to all and sundry. A couple of normal English white guys told him to cover it up or get off the train. Naturally, he chimped out and started screaming, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you." Meanwhile, the normal men were saying, "There's fucking kids about, mate. You need to get off the train." Those men took care of business. They beat some sense into him, and then they bodily threw him off the train restrained, as it should be, and as a cop should have done had there been any police. Well, no. If there'd been any police, they wouldn't have done anything anyway. Nobody would have behaved the way this guy with his pants around his ankles behaved until we started opening our borders, both in the UK and the US, to third world savages. And that's what they are. They are primitive savages. Ooga booga. Yes, I'm saying their culture is primitive. Well, you know what happened, don't you? You can guess. Take a guess. Yeah. This is from The Independent. Vigilante tube passengers face arrest over assault of naked man on tube who dropped his trousers. This comes from The Independent. Quote, "A group of tube passengers who kicked and dragged a man off the carriage after he removed his trousers are being investigated by police. In a video shared online, a man who was later detained under the Mental Health Act can be seen being kicked and thrown to the floor by passengers on a District Line train in East London last week. British Transport Police said officers are treating the incident as an assault and are appealing to witnesses." Next quote. An off-duty police officer arrested the man after passengers alerted London Underground staff. The BTP are now investigating whether passengers who confronted the man committed any criminal offenses. No arrests have been made so far, but a British transport spokesperson said the man had been assaulted by a number of other passengers and was initially arrested by an off-duty officer before being detained under the Mental Health Act and taken to a hospital where he remains, having been sectioned. Finally, The Independent says the clip shows several passengers kicking the man against the carriage door after he exposed his genitals and buttocks and repeatedly refused to pull up his trousers. So, naturally, let's go after the Englishman who took care of the problem, and let's do him for assault. That poor man was just mentally ill, right? And when you're mentally ill, you can do anything you want, and anybody who stops you is hurting you. What do you mean, Josh, the world is feminized? You're so histrionic. I know. You also remember last week how we told you about Holly, the middle-aged mom in Cincinnati, beaten almost to death by a black mob at a music festival. We'll remind you with her pictures here. Here's how she looked after her savage beating. Well, there are, naturally, calls from Cincinnati's finest black leadership to prosecute the other victim, the white man who got beat up. Let's roll it.
6 individuals were charged with aggravated assault, which is a felony. The white guy incited or urged 6 other people to commit a felony.
The method by which this situation has been handled raises serious questions as to whether there's bias involved in the investigation. It also brings into question the possibility of a lack of integrity and whether there's something else to hide.
These cheap Martin Luther King Jr. knockoffs. The white man had incited them to commit a felony. And then we got Reverend Dr. McPreacherman over here with the macaroni sweats. There may have been some bias. All right. Are we right on to the next one? Here we are. I saw this tweet as a response. Walter says, I'm not sure how far negative the black community can go in terms of goodwill among whites, but I'd strongly suggest a lot more black people start speaking out about this kind of rhetoric. They probably won't, though. Things will just get worse. Yep. Well, this is a short introductory break because we've got a lot to cover in the middle of this show. So I'm going to take you right into saying thank you to our sponsor, Biltong. USA.com, run by the Van Vuren family in lovely Texas. Biltong is South African, thinly sliced vinegar and spice cured meat, and it is wonderful and delicious. I eat it constantly, all the time. And not only do they have beef, but they've got exotic things like kangaroo and lovely dried fruit too. And they're selling coffee now. So check out BiltongUSA.com. Look at their wares and remember to use promo code JOSH for 10% off your order. And we'll see you after the break.
The white guy incited or urged 6 other people to commit a felony.
The white man had incited them to commit a felony.
Society is finally starting to wake up to the transgender delusion. The Trump administration is going after hospitals that offer so-called gender-affirming care, which is maiming children. More than half the states have outlawed the practice, and the Supreme Court recently upheld a Tennessee law banning the practice and recognizing it as child abuse, which means that any state that bans it now cannot have that ban challenged. We are finally able to say out loud that poisoning children with hormones is not a form of health care. We're now allowed to say that it's evil and it's insane to cut the breasts off pubescent girls and the scrotums off pubescent boys. We're finally able to say that it's ludicrous to let fetishistic men in dresses go into the women's bathroom and play on high school girls' sports teams. We can finally say that now. But there's something that we're still not allowed to say. The gender-critical set won't allow it. The TERFs, the trans-exclusionary radical feminists, won't allow it. because feminism won't allow it. And feminism doesn't just include those women who explicitly identify themselves with the label feminist. It includes almost all of society, left and right, because almost everyone in this country has imbibed feminism and its mythology, which is Marxist cluster B nonsense, right down to the core level. That's why we can have women claiming to live in a patriarchy in the United States when we are transparently under the thumb and the stiletto heel of a gynocracy. Do you know what we're still not allowed to say? We're not allowed to say that masculinity is good. We're not even allowed to say that it's morally neutral. We're not allowed to say that boys can be, and maybe should be, masculine. That's not allowed. It's homophobic. Because it says something not nice about effeminate boys. It says they're not number one in 100%, and that's bigotry, you see. Because it says there's a right way to be a boy or a girl, and that can only be bigoted. That's feminism. Girls, though, they can do anything. They can be president, they can be an astronaut, they can be a girl boss. Meanwhile, boys are drugged for ADHD that they don't have because feminized school systems want them to sit quietly. Men are terrified to approach young women for fear of being called creepy. Male suicide is many times higher than that for women, and white men comprise a great deal of those suicides. But that doesn't matter because it's men. And men are bad. And if they're lonely, well, maybe they should go to therapy. Lol. Maybe they should be more like women. And then when I find I'm not turned on by sissy men, I'm just going to tell them they don't live up to my standards and they're not real men. Maybe. You even hint that boys and young men should develop manly qualities, that that's something they ought to strive for. And the feminists and your next door neighbors, including the men of the household, start shrieking. And then they turn on good men and they start abusing them. Call that man the evil one who's making the little boys feel like they have to transition with his masculinist authority. Because the demand for boys to be masculine is so overwhelmingly dominant in our culture that boys are falling off the ladder left and right. Right? That's what's going on, isn't it? Wink, wink. No, it isn't. And it hasn't been my entire life, and I'm almost 51 years old. The only things encouraged in boys are feminine things. Stop being angry. Be more empathetic. Talk about your feelings more. Until that gives your girl the ick, and then don't talk about your feelings anymore. Do more chores around the house, but also be her white knight in shining armor and bring home more money from your outside job, and then do the dishes. Men have been mocked, derided, and called essentially and inherently toxic at the cultural level for all of my life. And it's become clear how much feminists and how many women who wouldn't call themselves feminists really do dislike and sometimes outright hate boys and masculinity, including their own sons. That became clear in the reaction online to what Chris Elston said about the cheerleaders. We're going to show them to you. You know him as Billboard Chris, the sandwich board guy. He's a married father. He's got children, and he's put his life on the line and has been beaten up multiple times for this cause. Well, now the very TERFs who liked him are now accusing him of being a force for evil. They are saying that he is the reason that children are transitioning. It's because he spreads attitudes that make young boys want to become girls. That's right. They are pulling an abusive, disgusting cluster B reversal. And it's all over what I'm about to show you. The Minnesota Vikings football team has 2 new male cheerleaders on the squad. And just looking at this video, well, there's a picture of the 2 of them. You know their names are Lance and Bryden. In this video you're about to see, one of these guys bounces around in what can only be described as sissy girly moves. Stay with me. Don't get emotional. Don't get upset and verklempt. You don't know where I'm going yet. Take a look, though. Biologist Colin Wright put up a poll on Twitter. It says, is it okay for a male to be a cheerleader? That is a very tendentiously put question, full of buried assumptions. The biggest buried assumption is that saying it's okay to be a male cheerleader actually means everyone must approve of this, and those who don't like it and don't prefer it are bigots, and their lack of approval means that we're not letting boys be cheerleaders. Just let them dance, they all say. Nobody's not letting anyone do anything, and the question isn't whether it's okay. Tendentious. I don't think Colin is even aware of the buried assumptions that he's using, but they're right there. Here's what Billboard Chris had to say when he saw that video. Quote, "No, not if he's dancing like a girl and waving pom-poms. He can be there to support them and throw and catch them, but not in an NFL dance squad." That's Chris's opinion. You've heard of opinions, right? They're subjective feelings. You have them. Men have them too. Are they allowed? All holy hell broke loose. Hundreds of people swarmed. Some of them are people I'm friendly with on Twitter. They accused Chris Elston of bigotry, of being a gender essentialist, of not letting boys express themselves, and they accused him of being one of the major reasons why boys transition to become girls. That's right. These people turned on Chris Elston and said he is the reason why young boys want to get their dicks chopped off. It's revolting. And you know why all of this is? Because we are not allowed to value masculinity, and by God, men are not allowed to tell boys to act like boys. That is a sin from which you cannot recover. That is coded, as Gen Z says, as homophobic abuse and outmoded bigot thinking. Meanwhile, no man is allowed to say boys need to man up. The very state of masculinity itself is considered poison. Why do you think women have been feminizing boys and men for decades in the school system? What might motivate them? I want you to really see how normal, everyday male masculinity and no other trait, singularly masculinity, is seen as so evil and so obviously evil that people don't even hear themselves. They suddenly don't see the Munchausen by proxy moms, the personality disordered bitches who medicalize their sons. Nope, can't see that anymore. That's not the reason boys transition, Jazz Jennings. No, it's men like Chris that are making them transition. It's men like many others online who are just ordinary, normal football fans and who don't want to ogle a mincing faggot sticking his ass up in the air on a cheerleading squad during game time. Women and lefty men shocked and appalled. Haters, troglodytes, you're taking us backwards. Are you starting to get the smallest clue how disfavored it is to be a man in our society? Do you see how much normative boyhood and manhood are called unacceptable? Are you beginning to understand what my alleged issue with women is? Let's take a tour of the online responses. These are highlights. There were hundreds. This comes from John O'Connor. I disagree. It's this kind of thinking that drives men to think they are women. Yes. Because Chris Elston says he doesn't want to see a sissy boy acting like a girl on the Vikings team. That's what's going to make that sissy boy go trans. Gay conservative Brad Palumbo also whines histrionically. Notice throughout all of these the smuggled assumptions. Liking or advocating for masculinity in boys is bigotry, but advocating for femininity in boys is love, and it's just fine. So Brad says, you can't claim to be against gender ideology and also think men shouldn't be allowed to dance with pom-poms. You are actually just socially intolerant, and it shows. And yeah, actually, Brad, you do talk like that. You sound like a valley girl. It's one of the reasons why I don't take you seriously. Now, Detransitioner, that's a new identity that the borderlines are getting a lot of mileage out of, a lot of identity points they're coming from that. Some of them follow me. Well, they're not following me anymore because I don't put up with their borderline bullshit. Here's one of them. She decided yesterday that I was, the Massager Raper 5000. Prisha Mosley completely borderlined out on me and accused me of harassing women. She said, this is her response to Chris. This is the wrong way, Chris. This is gender. This is returning to the regressive and sexist stereotypes that fueled trans in the first place. Also, notice this. You can't tell boys to be masculine, but you can tell them to be feminine. Let them be feminine men. That is, they don't just want to let boys be feminine. They want to force them to be feminine. This is screamed and demanded. The implication is that these poor boys are prevented from being who they authentically are because other men say they don't like their faggy behavior, or their theatricality, or their histrionics, or the fact that they're everywhere all the time and there's no space left for men to get away from it. The lie is that Chris saying anything about this is an act against those boys who have no ability to be feminine without the entire left coming in and reassuring them, because that's so disfavored in society now. Meanwhile, in the real world, there is only space for feminized men. That is the only kind of men who are acceptable socially. Do you see? This is all a reversal. It's all a reversal of the truth. Let's go on to some more responses. This one says, what you're saying specifically what perpetuates trans ideology. Let them be effeminate men. It's okay. Get off it, please. This is so counterproductive. Next one. When you start wanting men and women to adhere to social stereotype, you start promoting transgenderism. Well, okay. Next one. I couldn't disagree more. You sound like a gender ideologue defining men and women as social behaviors. Next one. What does like a girl mean? It is this type of misogynistic and homophobic thinking that leads children and parents down the nightmare of trans medicalization. Male cheerleaders have always existed. I only take issue if a female has lost a spot or a job. Yeah, I know a woman who calls herself Weezer Boudreaux. We know you only take issue when a woman loses a spot because you bitches are narcissists. You are nasty, self-centered, solipsistic, unempathetic twats. You hate men, you hate boys, you don't care if boys are hurt. In fact, many of you actively like it. I see you tittering about it. So stuff it up your ass. This goes on and on. Notice what they're all saying. They're all denying that sex roles actually exist. What they call gender roles are what we used to call old-fashioned sex roles. The gender criticals, the gays, the feminists, they really do think it's possible to abolish sex role expectations in human society. Some of you might still think that's possible. If you do, you've got another thing coming. It's lunatic. No society on Earth made up of humans doesn't have sex roles. This is part of our wiring. Sure, we've got flexibility. Sure, there's room for people to cross over. There always has been, more or less given the historical era. But this is normal and human. What do you think gender critical meant? Did you not take these people seriously? Do you think they didn't mean it? They did. They think they can, and they think they should, get rid of any expectations or associations of any behavior at all that's tied to sex, period. It's never going to happen, but the left is insane, so they're going to keep going on this crusade. And it isn't just the left. When it comes to seeing masculinity as suspect, the right is just as bad. Here's another response. This way of thinking reinforces the idea that some people are born with the wrong sex. There's no such thing as, quote, dancing like a girl. Waving pom-poms is okay for boys, just as it is okay for girls to play American football or use power tools. I thought we were more advanced than that. These people get their dialogue. You know what? They're mechanical analog androids. They've got an IBM punch card stuck in their back that's got 3 sayings on a rotation. They're not actually thinking. This next one here is typical. This woman's pretending to be obtuse. She asks, what does it mean to dance like a girl? So she says, why not? They are not claiming to be women. They are not wearing the females' uniforms. What does, quote, dancing like a girl mean? Is dancing like a boy different? Maybe the boy should be leading the girl, since that is typically what happens in couples dancing. I have no idea what she's on about. Here's the kicker. Don't ruin your fight against child mutilation and child transition with this. Shame on you, Dawn. Shame on you. It's you, people, who are throwing out Chris's good work, more work than you've done, way more work than I've done. You are throwing it out because you hate men, and you really hate men who don't like sissification of men. Meanwhile, you crave us. You crave our masculinity. A big part of you craves being told, shut up and mind your business. And a lot of you crave it sexually too. We're also not supposed to say that. I've been friends with you ladies. I know what you think about in private. Here's another feminist bitch with the typical female monitoring of, not a good look, pretty weird. Here we go. I kept seeing posts crapping on you from high and didn't know what started it all. This is pretty odd of you, she's talking to Chris, but I suspect you already regret it. I invite you to read this. It's about NFL players having long used ballet, the girliest dance category there is, as well as Irish dancing in their fitness regimens. Emily says, when you were out there pretending to care about children, she's talking about Chris Elston, who travels the world. When you were out there pretending to care about children, you kind of had something going on, but you're showing everyone you're just actually another conservative asshole who hates free speech. It goes on like this endlessly. And I'm sorry to say that some viewers of this show played this nasty game online too. I jumped in to defend Chris, and naturally I was called the same sort of bigoted, but also mentally ill, male oppressor. I won't bore you with it, but included the usual accusations of internalized homophobia, misogyny, becoming the very thing I decry, etc., etc. Like all men, really, I'm just a monster. Hatred of men, boys, and masculinity bubbles along underneath everything in this culture, and I'm well past the point of tolerating it. One man, one father in Chris Elston advocates for manly and masculine behavior in boys, and absolute fury erupts. Decent people, otherwise sane people, some of whom have been online quote-unquote friends, they go apeshit. They scold him, they accuse him of causing children to trans. They throw every dirty feminist manipulative trick at Chris Elston. Then some of them turn it on me. All of this because a man dared to express that he doesn't approve of sissy behavior in boys on the cheerleading squad in the NFL. He might even actually care that this kind of feminization doesn't do these boys any favors. Didn't think about that, did ya? Because no one does. But that can't be spoken. All these women and feminists and homosexuals get to shout all goddamn day long for decades about how we have to make space for your stupid antics, but one man who says, no, I prefer masculinity, and you lose your ever-loving shit. There has been nothing but space, all of it everywhere, all the time, nothing but space for feminized boys. Gay boys and sissies are a goddamn protected class in this country. Regular boys, masculine boys, straight boys, non-mincing gay boys, forget it. There is zero space for them culturally, and it's your fault. Mothers, feminists, and absent, gelded, pussified fathers who go along with it. You are responsible for this. This topic exercises me. It's pretty much a new frontier. We're having a change in the public discourse. We're able to say things now that we couldn't say before, but this is one of them that's still unsayable. That's why I'm saying it. Masculinity is almost universally recognized as a state of sin. A state of innate hostility and danger. Almost everyone believes this. Even when they say they don't believe it, they do believe it. Their actions tell on them. The merest mention of the idea that boys ought not dance like girls on the Minnesota Vikings football team is met with shock and abuse of people that they disagree with. Accusations of misogyny and you're transing kids. Men are not allowed ever, under any circumstances, to object to sissying up the boys. Why? That's abusive. We have to make even more space for them. Encourage more sissiness, more faggotry, more mincing, because that means we really, really love them. It's ungrateful, it's abusive, and it's common. As a boy, I had no father because my father left my mother before I was born. At 3 years old, she married my stepfather, and he turned out to be a violent abuser. He beat me, gave me a concussion. He beat my mother, and he molested his own daughter, my sister. Of course, against this backdrop, as most of you know, there was my abusive mother with borderline and narcissistic personality disorders, and she vacillated between mocking and humiliating me for being soft and saying things like, no girl will ever want you, and you're just going to turn out to be a piece of shit like your father. That would be one moment. And the next moment, she'd be treating me like a golden prince with things like, you're so handsome, all the girls are going to go for you. So obviously, I didn't know if I was coming or going. But having no father, I never learned to take care of myself like a man. I never learned how to fight. I didn't learn how to defend myself. I didn't even learn how to walk like a man, talk like a man, or take responsibility for myself as a man should. Instead, I learned to cry, to panic, and to dissolve in tears of frustration, and then to scream to get my way. I learned to be a feminine borderline like my mother. Every normal masculine man or boy I met was a source of fear for me, all throughout my childhood and into much of my adulthood. I believed that men were born innately evil and abusive and violent. Think for a second how that affects a boy child's view of himself. When I did get pushed around or picked on for being a homo, I crumpled. I was terrified. And I exaggerated the bullying. The bullying did happen, but I exaggerated it to an almost hysterical degree in my teenage years. Most normal boys rejected me as a friend because, well, normal people can smell freak on you, and I gave off freak. It's true. People can smell it on you. They know when you come from a fucked up home and there's not something right about you. I had almost no friends until middle school when I suddenly became funny and found some popularity and acceptance for the first time in my childhood life. So I became a histrionic. I became an entertainer. I had an ability that nobody else had. I couldn't throw a football, but I could crack up an entire classroom, including the teachers. And it does me pretty well today to keep people entertained. But it's definitely a maladaptive behavior that is learned as a response to childhood abuse. I would have been better off learning how to throw the football too. If I'd known how to hold my own and how to throw punches back, I would have been even better off. And until my 40s, I didn't really think I was part of the male sex, not really. All straight men hated sissies like me, I thought. And they'd kill me if they could. Most of them would kill me if they could get away with it. Yes, it's deranged. But this is the mindset of so many gay guys like me. What I really needed was a father and a male role model. I needed to learn to be a man. That didn't mean that I had to become a football jock. Society has always had a place for bookish, artistic, and intellectual men, and that's a path that I could have taken respectably. It didn't have to mean becoming a feminized, histrionic mess, but that's what happened. I didn't have that, though. I didn't have that father, and millions of boys don't. And I removed myself from the society of men as an adult, not realizing that I was part of that society. I didn't realize that most of these guys didn't actually hate me. That they and I, us together, all being men, we could actually be friends and share men's interests and men's business with each other. I know it now. As gay rights became the thing that every good-thinking person had to approve of, society hug-boxed me and people like me. You think we had it hard? There were some ways that we had it hard, but there were some ways I had it real, real good. That hug boxing, women especially, I leaned in, if you will, to being a victim. I sought out maternal love and approval from women friends. And I spent my time performing gay best friend for them. I turned into a pocket pansy. Well, after looking at what I've seen over the past couple of days, because I've been thinking about this for a while, I'm not going to call myself a gay man anymore. I'm not a gay man in any way that means something fundamental about who I am as a person. Not in the way that you hear it when you hear the term gay man. I'm a man and I happen to be a homosexual. Yes, I'm shaped by my past and I'm definitely gay in that way. I like to put on camp humor. I'm a 20th century gay and I like to have fun with it. But I'm not a sissy anymore. And there is no dignity in sissyhood. That's why it's a BDSM fetish, for God's sake. That's the point. Do you want that for your sons? Do you want that for your neighbor's sons? Do you want this for the boys that you claim to care about? Have you ever stopped to think about how they feel? What do you think the boys in your life think when all they hear around them is toxic masculinity, that their interest in cars is suspect, that looking at girls means they're a rapist waiting in the wings? Have you ever stopped to think about it from a boy's point of view? You've done real well with girls, haven't you? Light bulb for anyone? Don't mistake me, please. I'm not asking for pity or sympathy. I'm not wallowing in victimhood, and I'm not presenting myself to you as a victim. I'm trying to tell you a truth that pertains to many more gay men and many more men than just me personally. And I hope you will want to understand that point of view, because you're not going to hear it in very many other places. All right. I'm going to cap that off with an observation from someone on Twitter that got it so well, I couldn't have written it better. Person who goes by I Don't Really Care Margaret said this: if it was about him, that boy on the team, just wanting to dance, he'd just go dance. He'd be an actual dancer in a dance company where gay men are completely common and run-of-the-mill. But it's not about him just wanting to dance. He wants to dance and be celebrated. But he's not a good enough dancer to be celebrated for his talent. He's third rate, who'd be in the back of the chorus line at best. As for the women, they don't actually care about saving the sissy boys. They care about being seen to be saving the sissy boys. They also just want their sitcom gay best friend to go shopping with and have brunch mimosas. The boy cheerleaders are accessories for them. As an adult woman, you don't become a professional ass shaker unless you crave attention and you've got no other way to get it. Damn right. All right. Do you get something here that you don't get anywhere else? Even if you don't like all of it, we would really appreciate your support. You are our main sponsor, audience members. We appreciate you. You can donate in any amount you want. It all helps pay the bills. Just go to disaffected.com and click on Support Us. And if you would like to spend some time talking about any of these issues privately, one-on-one, I'm available for 1-hour coaching and consulting sessions at joshuaslocum.net. As you know, I specialize in helping people sort out psychologically abusive and troublesome relationships at home, in your family, at church, at work. But I'm also available to just hang out and talk to you about politics and maybe give you a read on what's going on if you need someone halfway sane. So again, check out joshuaslocum.net. If you don't see a time on there that works for you, just send me an email through the website. I regularly schedule off-hours appointments with people that aren't necessarily published. Come back and see us after the break. Welcome back. Borderlines be wild, and let's keep it going. You are about to see the most Karen borderline meltdown of all time. Excuse me. It happened in Portland, naturally. And let's go out of order a little bit so we can make sure that this woman is fully publicly identified. This tweet came after the original video that I'm about to show you. This is from an account called PDX Real. PDX is the airport code for Portland, Oregon. We weren't going to release the name of the person who verbally attacked a man at Mount Tabor Dog Park over his choice of canine, but now she's threatening us and also providing a confession. So her name is Noel Martin. And according to LinkedIn and what they put here, she works as a client implementation manager at the Ogden Weber Applied Technology College. She is messaging this account, which played the video depicting her. You'll see it in a moment. And this is what she said to them. Take that video of me down now. You will be hearing from my attorney soon. If I don't survive this, I hope it was worth it to you. Clicks. That's all I am to you. If I don't survive this, I hope it was worth it to you. She sounds really sad, doesn't she? Sounds like a lady in trouble. Do you want to see the video? Let's roll it.
You bought those dogs, didn't you?
No.
You didn't adopt them. You didn't save their lives. You don't care about them. You don't care about anyone but yourself.
You are crazy, lady.
Get away from me then. Get away from me.
You walked up to me.
Go away from me. This guy won't leave me alone. Help me. Help me. This guy won't leave me alone. And he is saying that I said something racist when I absolutely did not.
You did.
Please help me. I did not say anything
Who
to this guy.
are you
Please
talking to?
Help me. Help me, please. Please get this guy away from me. Adopt those.
Dude,
stop. Go away.
you need medication, lady.
You need to get away from me.
Go that way. Go that way.
No, you go.
You want to attack me?
Go.
If you touch me, I will knock you out. You attack me, I have a right to defend myself.
Okay, let's do this.
She's pulling her phone out. Let's do this, she says.
Get away from me now. This guy is harassing me.
You,
He said that
I have
was
lots of
racist.
film,
No,
lady.
I did not say anything racist at all.
Go away
whatsoever.
from me, lady.
Go away from me. Go away. Go away. I'm trying to get by, and this guy won't let me by.
Go by.
I'm trying to get by.
Go by. I have I have everything you said before.
Names.
I have it all on video, lady.
I have it all on video too.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You need to go away. I let you by.
Go
Go.
away too. You need to adopt those dogs. Look at this guy. Look at his bred dogs. Look at what an unethical
Look at his bred
piece
dogs.
Of shit this guy
That's
is.
his mom.
He has to have bred dogs because he has a small penis. He has no freaking.
Isn't this lady amazing?
No integrity.
You are mentally ill. You are mentally ill,
And
lady.
no fucking ethics at all whatsoever.
You are mentally ill.
Be a Trump supporter.
You are mentally ill.
Where's Ice?
You are mentally
Where's Ice?
ill.
Trump supporter.
Now she's saying,
Wow.
where's
Where's
Ice?
Ice?
Easy.
Let me call.
I thought it was
Yeah,
terrible.
I'm done with you. Have fun
thought
in
ice
your
was
psycho
terrible,
ward.
lady.
Go take your medication today.
He's right. Remember last week in the extra special, if you haven't seen the special, we have a standalone special called What is Borderline Personality Disorder? It's on every video platform. It's a half hour, and it takes you through the 4 cluster B disorders with a specific emphasis on borderline. And in that, I told you about the fact that the term borderline personality disorder means that people like this they're straddling the border between neurosis, negative feelings, and psychosis, which means disconnection from reality. This looks to me like a really good example of borderline psychosis. She's crossed the line. She's actually disconnected from reality now. I know this has started to seem normal to people in the past few years, but you remember, think back 20 years ago, people like this would have been taken to an asylum. She would be involuntarily committed. One of the reasons we're seeing so much of this stuff out on the street is because insane people like this did used to get locked up against their will, and we need to go back to that. So here's one, similar, not quite as dramatic, but pretty good. This one's from downtown Denver.
Why your parents take you shopping? Shop, chop, chop till you drop. Hope your dad doesn't get you kidnapped.
The Peter Thiel?
Peter Thiel, Palantir.
Look at her striking a pose.
17th Street. 1215th floor. Too bad nobody knows how to peacefully protest anymore. I mailed rocks to UC Health.
because they violated the ACA billing laws.
How so?
Well, they didn't check my insurance before my appointment. And it says on my insurance card, you must verify insurance before date of service.
Right.
And so they said I owed them a shit ton of money. And I sent them rocks.
About the whole situation, I'm like, maybe it's probably best I don't, you know?
I know. I have so much information. You know where Philip Anschutz lives?
I don't.
He lives off of University in Alameda. And I think it would be hilarious if, like...
It's a very nice neighborhood.
Isn't it? If, like, a whole bunch of garbage got dumped there. I don't know those kind of people, but, there's so many ways to peacefully protest, and nobody knows how to do it anymore. But I know how to make a fucking seem like a crazy white woman.
What is your grievance?
What is my grievance? The fact that we have a fucking pedophile in the office who has been diagnosed in the court of law with a DSM-5, number 65.4, and he...
I don't know if you heard that. Did you hear DSM-5? This woman diagnosed Donald Trump with pedophilic disorder, which is number 65.4 in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Do you understand that these women are psychosexually disturbed? They are. Do you understand that their triggered state when they're confronted with what they perceive to be masculinity that they call threatening? Do you understand that their allegations, their false allegations of rape and pedophilia are a form of their own repressed sexual fantasies? Because it's true. It's that dirty. Sugar and spice and everything nice, right? Okay. It's time for a very quick edition of Potpouri du Moquerie, a portion of the show where we roast the skin off everyone, even when we only have 2 little potatoes to roast for you today. All right, so what I'm about to show you is real. I promise. This is the world I grew up in. I give you a television commercial from 1980.
Today, being retarded means leading a full life. Retarded people go to work or school just like their neighbors and come back to a real home, a supervised home, right in the neighborhood where they belong. Being retarded never stopped anyone from being a good neighbor.
It was a better world. But you know what? That's all of you. That's all of you in the audience. You're all my retarded neighbors. Come be retarded with me. And last, maybe least, you remember last week we closed the show with George talking about the Pillsbury biscuits and stuff, and the lady with the cookie dough in her vag. Well, this week we have bum bum bum. Cookie dough canister explodes in man's rectum during shoplifting incident in Kentucky. Should I make the noise of it? I'm going to. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.